Just think of it as the rough draft of the podcast world. This is the Newbie Writers Podcast with your hosts Damian Boat and Catherine Bramkamp.
Hey, this is episode 144 of the Newbie Writers Podcast. And we're getting there. We're nearly getting to the 150. And today, we're going on tour. Like a real rock and roll show. Aren't we, Catherine?
Yes, we are, only without the bus.
But that's the best bit.
I know, it is the best bit. So unfortunately, we'll not be knocking back Jack Daniels in the back of the bus. So it'll be a more sober tour. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I wouldn't be drinking Jack Daniels anyway. It's like
I would.
that could strip paint. No, we're going to talk about blog tours and virtual book tours. I think that's the proper term. I don't know. I'm all a bit skeptical about it, to be honest. But we've got Beth Barany on, and she's going to clear that up for me. So, Beth, welcome. Welcome to the tour bus.
Oh, thank you. I love these plush purple and pink polka dot seats.
Look, I wanted the dots to be green, but they seem to get confused. So we're stuck with the pink now.
It's so hard to get a good bus nowadays.
I know, and one that can, a designer for a tour bus. Hey, what an interesting job. Yes. Surely that is a job out there, designing rock star tour buses.
I'm sure
there's got to be something.
What a good niche.
I know. Where do you hide the cocaine, like all that sort of stuff? That would be
well, there's special compartments, probably.
Yeah, you got to build it into the design.
That's right.
Right.
So, anyway, I see these people that I associate with. They do these book tour things all the time. What's involved? Is it just I don't know how it works. Do you just put a blog post up on someone else's blog and go, "Cool, I'm on tour"? Like, how does it work?
Sure, you could do that. That would be quite informal. It works like a book tour would in the real world, in which you put some planning behind it and marketing. So you decide, hey, I'm going to go on tour for 10 days. And you decide, for the next 10 days, you're going to do that, except you would want to give yourself a lot of planning and lead time. And you got to go out there and find bloggers. And this is where the power of a blog tour is. You find bloggers who are interested in your book. So I'm not sure if your audience is nonfiction or fiction or a mix of both. So I can touch on both of those kinds of.
We'll take anyone who wants to listen. They could read brochures for a living, for all I care.
There's some people who do that. So, in a blog tour, the power of it is that, like going to another town and another bookstore with a built-in marketing, hopefully, to some degree, you can show up on people's blogs who already have a built-in following. So the power of a blog tour, or a virtual book tour, as they're also called, is that you get exposure from another person who doesn't know you necessarily, but who likes you and likes what you're up to give you a platform, to give you a megaphone or a little whistle, depending on how big a reach they have. But it's probably better than the reach you have, and combined, if you say stop at 20 or 30 different blogs over the course of, say, a month, then that's a whole bunch more people who get exposed to you and learn about what you're writing.
But do you have to tailor each blog post to be different? I mean, what's to stop me just writing a blog post, in Word and then sending it out to yourself? Catherine puts it on hers, and then a few others, and then you just end up spamming the whole community with the same blog post.
Right. Well, that has more to do, I think, with SEO. Like search engines and Google, they don't like duplicate content. So the short answer is yes, you need to come up with original content. But that's not too hard to do when we're writers, so we can write a lot of stuff ahead of time. You can prepare Q&As. You can write short guest posts on things that you love, so it's not a burden. I know busy authors. I've worked with a best-selling author who really didn't want to write guest posts, but she loved Q&As. And she loved that every blogger sent her a different kind of question list. And that allowed her to really go to town and enjoy it. She really liked that. I thought it suited her personality and her creativity.
I like Q&As. I don't know.
Yeah, Q&As are a lot of fun because then someone else gets to direct the conversation and you just show up and be your fun, creative self.
Well, that's the idea. I don't
Of
know.
course.
I ask questions all the time, I suppose.
That's
so
right. That's
tell us how. Okay, so tell us how, because I think the concept of guest blogging and getting out there. There's a couple of other pieces to the blog tour, and one of them is, of course, how does if you've got a brand new newbie writer and they want to they just got their book out, maybe they did it themselves. That would be more typical, right? So they have the book in their hands. They put it up on Amazon, even though Amazon's the bad guy right now, but I don't care, I like Amazon. So they got them up on Amazon and they want to promote it. How do they go about finding sympathetic bloggers who are willing to be part of their tour?
Well, it's going to depend on what you write. So say, let's just for kicks pick a newbie writer who's got her first YA fantasy novel out. And I pick on that because I'm a YA fantasy novelist, and I also know new novelists in this category. So they don't know who to find. So the first thing you do is go to your friendly neighborhood search engine and type in your genre, so YA fantasy, and then type in the words book blogger, which is the name for people who self-identify as people who love books and love blogging about books, and also love to review books. You could also use the keyword book reviewer or book blogger reviewer. You will find so many reviewers and bloggers out there who love what you're doing, and they even say on their blog, hey, I review books. Send me your book, and they'll tell you their criteria for review. That's and then the other thing is to look to experienced writers and look where they have gone on their blog tours. And that's not hard to figure out. You can even come to my site, my author site, author.bethbarany.com, where I write YA fantasy and romance, paranormal romance. And you can nose around and you can see that I've done blog tours, and you can even see who reviewed my book, and you can contact those same reviewers and see if they're available to review books.
Let's see.
I go on. I have a whole course on this topic. I have a lot to say.
I was just thinking, it's a little bit off topic, but I was telling my mother that I was the beta reader for Catherine's book. And she says to me, that's a wonderful idea. How do I get involved with beta reading people's books? Is there a site out there? And I thought, that's an interesting question. I'm going to throw that out to the writing universe. I know most people tend to stick within their circles, but is there anything out there for those people that want to just read crap, basically?
Is that just because of your recent experience?
No,
you say that?
No, but that's the whole. No,
I'm in the room.
That's the whole point of being a beta reader, though. Is you go through the craps and you fine tune it, don't you? So that way, when you do put it out, it's more polished.
I'm just teasing you because
I know
your feedback.
It's fun.
Wonderful. Beth's feedback was wonderful. See, I have two beta readers with me right now.
I know, but Tolkien,
reading your book.
Tolkien could have sent me, the Lord of the Rings. They go beta read this, and I'll be like, that's crap. And then, it's always crap. But I just thought, you mentioned that there's people out there that they do blog reviews, they do book reviews, that sort of thing. That's their shtick. But is there anything out there for those people that just want to read the rubbish?
I don't know of anything that's organized, and I would declare right here and now that would be a great business opportunity. And I myself have cultivated a community of beta readers for my particular genres, and I did it also for a client recently. It went moderately well, not as well as I would have expected. So the short answer is no, and the long answer is writers go out into the community and ask for beta readers, and they're usually not that organized about it. I've become more organized. I have over 25 beta readers on a list that I give a heads up a book is coming, and they can pick and choose. And I get about a 20% return on comments. So it's a very low. A lot of people say yes, but only about 20% get back to me. I don't know. Is that your experience, Catherine?
Yeah, that is definitely my experience, and I build that in. So if I send out, and I have a very small group, but mine is about 11, 12 beta readers, potential readers, and it's going to depend on, if they're doing it for free, they're doing me a favor. So I just figure if I have 12 and I get back 4 good comments, because the people who are returning them, like yourself and like Damien, are really giving me stuff I can use. That's great. I mean, sometimes more than that would be overwhelming in some regard. So I'm delighted with mine, and I agree. You cultivate it along. I've been tweeting about this too, and thank you guys. Give you shout outs in the acknowledgments. I mean, all of that will create that that goodwill, and then I put it out on Facebook as well, and got some people who said, oh my gosh, I'd love to read it. And even if they don't get back to you, you gave them a heads up. They feel connected to the book, and maybe they'll help later when the book is published to promote it.
Yeah, and I'm hearing some crazy background noise from you.
Sorry.
I was just thinking about it. I mean, everyone sort of that I've come across, they just sort of pick from their closest friends or part of their community, and it is strange then that people then don't get back to you. I don't know. You feel a bit of responsibility. So Catherine sent me her book, and it's like, can you read this please and just give me some honest feedback? First mistake, but you just I think, well, hang on, I've been asked to do this. A friend has asked me to do this. Well, I should probably do it. And I'm a slow reader. I've probably got the reading speed of a 5-year-old, and yet I thought, well, I've got to try and get through this at least and dedicate some time to it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you did that, and not even people in my family did not follow up. Don't always follow up. So you're a good man, Pete. You're a good man.
But what? Well, yeah. Don't go spreading that around.
Okay. Keep it just between you and me.
And everyone else listening. But I just don't know why people wouldn't do it. Like, when you read it, does it come into, if it is, because it's not a polished, perfect piece. So if it comes into it, then do people go, ooh, I don't really want to hurt her feelings by saying I didn't like the first chapter? It's like, well.
Yeah, but that's what you want. I mean, that's why why you have to choose who's doing the reading. So maybe, as both you and Beth pointed out, maybe the beta reader system can't necessarily be automated. You need to be able to say to the person you hand this book to, it's like, okay, tell me what you think. And even if I had one reader who came back and said, well, the first chapter was a little slow. Well, compare that to you, Damien, who just wrote me and said, first chapter is crap. You have to get through this. It's terrible.
Yes.
So he's sort of, the other reader backed you up in a different way.
Yes. I was more, but I gave you reasons why. Like, I didn't just put,
oh, absolutely,
your first chapter is crap. There was then a following page of why.
Yeah.
And I would expect the same back. This is the thing. I would be very skeptical if I sent out some of my work and it came back as, this was brilliant. No, yeah, right.
Right.
It can't be. Even the best in the world, someone will still have a problem with it. So.
Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, I don't know. Would people pay to have beta readers? Like, I'm just thinking now from that, Beth, you were saying, oh, there's a good opportunity. I mean, could you set it up that if you pay a fee, $20, it goes out to 20 readers and they'll give you feedback? And the incentive needs to be there for the reader too, that if they submit their review to that person, then they get, I don't know, Amazon credits or something.
I don't know. That's an interesting point, because for me it has just more been, it's partially a labor of love, if you will, but it's also, you can hire somebody to read. I mean, you can hire me, you could hire Beth, and we'll read your book and tell you what we think. But the beta readers are, I think part of the exchange is that it's free, that they're just helping you, and then, you in turn will give them wine or lunch or something. I think that the lack of financial exchange is important in a beta reader, and I don't know why. Beth, what do you think? Do you know beta readers who take money to be betas?
I don't know people who take money, but I had a client asking me this very same question, and I think I hesitate too. I don't think there should be a money exchange. I think we want them to invest their time, so they are like, instead of buying a book, they're in doing us a favor. They're investing their time, and to put money into it, I'm almost afraid that amateurs, by amateurs I mean not professional editors, would be like, oh, this was so great. And that's not what we want. We want honest readers' opinions, and we wanted them to do it also because they like helping authors who are in the developmental stages, or, you know, the book is done, it's been through many rounds of edits, now we want to know what you guys think before we put in the polish. It's kind of like, you know, when they do screenings for films, they do audience testing. You know, I've been part of that audience. I get a free ticket. I get to go see a movie and fill out a survey. So it's that kind of thing. You know, we're testing out the material for the reader, for the writer, and yeah, to put money into it really makes me think it would totally change the kind of feedback we would get.
Do you think some people miss the point though? Because I mean, I've been a beta tester for some games, and I have friends who are as well. And I was talking to one the other day, and he said, "Oh yeah, I was testing this game, but it crashed, so I don't know, I just gave up." I said, "Well, did you tell them?" Because, no.
Well, that's the point. You need to tell them.
Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to be testing this thing before they release it. He's like, oh, okay. People seem to think that, well, they've just got early access to it and they get to play it because it's earlier than everyone else. No.
Well, I mean, that's the
they really need your back. Yeah, they need you.
I mean, I've been you know, I've done customer surveys. Well, they'll pay me a $75 check to go in and do some kind of test, you know, in downtown San Francisco for some product, you know, product testing. Right. So yeah, there is, perhaps there could be a model that's developed that is similar, you know, that you get an Amazon gift card or something similar. That's sort of like a token because you took the time to test our product.
Yeah,
you know, read the book. So yeah, you have a good point there. I wish I had the bandwidth to create something like this because I think there is a demand. But anybody out there listening, maybe you have the technical skills or you can pull it off, then let us know.
Yeah, or even if it's just something that gets added to an existing site, you know, something like, I don't know, Booktastic or something that gives away, has the deals on books that are out there. If they could sign up for a beta thing, and they just pull everyone together, and you can put out there and say, hey, is anyone interested in testing this book out? That could be an option.
Great idea. So are we going to actually talk about blog tours today?
We can do, but I just thought
we can. We just got sidetracked because we do.
Yeah.
And it's a very good topic to get sidetracked on.
I know.
But very topical.
Think about it. You heard it here first. So if anyone that decides to run with it, I want some sort of kickback in the form of chocolate. Or
in the form of money.
No,
in the form of cash.
Chocolate. What's wrong with chocolate?
Chocolate.
Chocolate's good.
Yeah, anyway. We like chocolate.
So, okay. The blog tour. So you're set up. You've got 6 or 7. Is there a certain number of places that you can tour to? Or is it like a rock band where you go, we did 100 shows in 120 days?
Exactly like a rock show. No, it's based on your capacity. So, you know, I've done tours that are like every Friday during 3 months of summer, or I've done tours where I do, you know, 10 days intensive, or I've run tours and done tours for myself and clients that are 30 days, or I know people who will do 3 or 4 blog appearances for 7 days, or actually for 5 days. So it's come on, we're dealing with creative writers. You can design this marketing campaign in the way that works for you, your lifestyle, your energy, your money commitment, your bandwidth, your skill set. So,
what's the consequences though for not like submitting or showing up to a blog? I mean, you know, like again, we use that whole rock show analogy. If you don't show up to the gig, then you got like 20,000 people pissed off wanting their money back. Who cares if I didn't get that blog post to you, sorry, I'll do it tonight. Is there certain time things, like I want it by Wednesday, and if you miss that, tough luck.
Well, it's going to be about the relationship between you, the author, and the blogger. So when I have people guest blog on my blogs, which I do quite a lot, I ask for things by a certain date, and then I need, 5 to 7 days to put them up or have my virtual assistant put them up. So same thing with bloggers. When I run blog tours for people, I say, okay, well, your date is October 1st, but so we're going to make sure you get all the content at least a week ahead. Does that work for you? And they'll say yes, or I want it 2 weeks ahead, or no problem, even the day ahead, I don't care. So we tailor, you want it, it's a one-to-one relationship. You're building a relationship with a blogger, because with your next book, you could go back to the same blogger and say, hey, book 2's coming. Would you like to review it, or can I be a guest again on your blog? So, blog tours are facilitators for book reviews as well as connecting with a new audience.
So, but then, yeah, okay. So then they just send you the Word document, and then you just copy and paste that into your blog? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
done.
So standard, you want to send your book cover, you want to send your author photo, you want to send the material for the guest post, whether it's a Q&A or a specifically targeted article that you've written, or maybe they've sent you a fun little thing that's sort of a combination of the two. It's a very important component of blog tours is prizes, is giving away things to readers who show up and comment, and maybe you want to do a grand prize. And that's what's fun, then now you're getting a little bit more rock star concert thing where, the rock star might throw fun gifts into the audience, right? So you want to make it fun, and you want to make it tie into the themes of your book. And, I'm not of the school, like, give away a gift card. Like, anybody might show up if you just give away a gift card. But if you give away signed copies of your book and, like, tchotchkes or things that relate to your book, then that you're attracting people who hopefully will have an interest in what you're offering.
Depends, though.
Okay.
Like, if you write a, horror gore book, you don't want to give away body parts or anything.
I really think you should. That's funny. Great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rubberized body parts packed up.
Yeah, I was going to say tiny little ones on keychains. We can find those.
Oh, I was more thinking like the grand prize would be like a severed pig's head or something.
There you go. And then it's all about the
obviously Beth and I went for the more easily carried items.
Yeah.
That's right. I did a Facebook party, which is a whole other topic, and I wrote a post about how to do a Facebook party to promote your book. But I gave away all kinds of prizes, including bookmarks, which, so people could sort of like virtually raise their hand, and I sent them like 6 bookmarks, and I wrote like a handwritten note, and people really liked those. And one gal wanted lots and lots of bookmarks for her classroom for my YA fantasy, so I sent her like several dozen bookmarks. Cool. That was fun. That's appropriate.
So Beth, do you when you do this again, just so when you're trying to figure all this out, if you're new, and sometimes you're just new at this particular project. So when you say that, so you're on a Facebook or you're at a blog post, you're at your blog tour. So people are saying, send me your bookmarks. Here's my address. So you're physically putting the bookmarks in an envelope, addressing the envelope, mailing the envelope. So what kind of budget did you give yourself to do that?
Yeah, well, for the blog, that was a Facebook party, and I just gave away things I already had. So I gave away digital copies of the book, I gave away bookmarks, which I already had produced, and I gave away naming rights to a character in book 3. That was really fun.
Okay.
People love that.
That's often done, yeah.
And then in my blog tours, I give away digital copies of the book, and that's pretty much it, like for romance, because that's all I have. And then for my fantasy, since I have print editions, I'll give away also print copies of the book. And then I also have a pendant that I have to mail that ties in with Henrietta and the Dragonstone, because she's wearing the Dragonstone. So I have a fun pendant that somebody won as a grand prize that I need to mail. So things like that. And my budget was like $30. The pendant wasn't that expensive. Then there's stamps. Okay. And I already made bookmarks, so that was like $40 for 500 bookmarks that get, put around the world. So, and then just labor, my labor. And then I have an assistant, so she gets paid. She helps me to some degree, depending.
Don't talk about Ezra like that.
Yeah. I do a lot of it myself, mostly because I want to learn how, and then later I delegate. And also, I have a budget.
Okay.
I can't pay her. I have her for certain hours a week because I run my coaching business, so I can't give her everything. I don't have the budget for that.
I'm just thinking, like, dependent.
So I just wanted to give, because sometimes, we hear, when we go to conferences, let's say, and we talk to Bella Andre, who is like way past what a lot of us are trying to grapple with, and so she will run something and she can spend thousands of dollars because she has it, and that can be very daunting for a brand new writer. So that's why I want to know, can you run one of these with a reasonable budget? And it sounds like you can. You just look at and see what you have, and people were excited about actually getting something as simple as bookmarks.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Cool. And that is a little surprising. Yeah, I also gave away things that are already available but people didn't know about. So if you sign up for my newsletter at author.bethbarany.com, you get a copy, you get a prequel of my YA fantasy. But you don't know that unless you go there. And so that was a prize. I'm like, you get a free copy of the prequel, Henrietta the Dragon Slayer, and people love that. Like, oh, I want that. Because what they really want, they want contact with the author. They want the author to say, hey, here's your awesome prize. And you can do that in a blog tour through the comments or on Facebook. So that's what blog tours enable, this one-on-one connection between you and the readers. And readers are nowadays, right? They can really easily connect with the authors. And there's a lot of people out there who love that, who just really, it makes their day. They're not writers, they're just readers, and they want to meet real authors, and that's what we are. So when you step out into a blog tour and show up, so your job as the author is to show up on that day and, also make sure the blogger posted your article. And so let's assume they did. And then you share it on social media, which is free, basically, right? We're paying for our internet connections and our computers. But so really all you have to spend, quote unquote, is your time and your focus and your attention.
What about if you put yourself out there through Facebook, Google+, that sort of thing, says, hey, I want to do a blog tour, is anyone interested? And you start contacting some places, and it all comes back as no thanks. What do you do then if you become that real sort of author loner that does not have any friends?
Then you're going to have to talk to Damien. I'll send them to you, so at least they'll have one friend.
Okay, yeah, fine. That's fine. podcast@newbiewriters.com. We'll post it up. It's fine.
There you go. And then they can cry in their beer or their Guinness or their coffee, and then they can join a writing community.
Right.
Okay.
Right? I mean, there's so many writing communities out there. You're at least going to find a few people. And then start small. I mean, when I did my very first blog tour, I just wanted to show up at one place once a week. So all I had to do was find one blogger to say yes. And I'm of the mindset that there are people out there who are curious about what you're doing. So it's on you, the author, to learn how to make an interesting pitch. So just like we had to learn elevator pitch and back cover blurb and a one-sentence, hook for our stories, that's the same way we would get a blogger interested. So you want to come to them with that, like think about what's interesting to them, because they're readers mostly. And some of them are also authors, but mostly they're readers first. So what hooks a reader? Come to them as readers. Hey, I have this really great book about a boy who, climbs up a beanstalk and enters an imaginary world. Would you like to review it? Or at least have me on your blog so I can share it with your readers. And then they're like, yeah, Jack and the Beanstalk, we love it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. So obviously how do you go about constructing that pitch letter without it sounding too desperate, though?
Oh, that's a whole conversation.
Please put me up there.
That in my course, Damien.
Well, that's why you're on.
Yeah. Oh my God. And people have. I've coached people for that. I would have to say, and Beth, you can weigh in on this. I think coming up with that pitch, that one or two sentence synopsis pitch for your book is probably the hardest part of writing the darn book.
I agree. It is so hard. And I put about as much energy into writing that cover blurb and the pitches as I do in writing the 20,000 word novella or the 80,000 word book. I spent a lot of...
Well, there's at least as much alcohol and hair pulling involved. It's
Sounds amazing.
It was just you just hit it. It was funny when you just said that, Damien, because we've both done. I've worked with authors on how to hone their pitches so that they would know how to talk to agents. And you're right. You have to put that very tight blurb to say, hey, are you interested? Because here's the whole essence of this book I've labored over for 5 years. Hope you like it. It's really tough.
It is. It was such a mystery to me on how to even write that. You've put your labor into this book, your heart, your soul. It's like this massive thing that lives within you. And then what? You want me to reduce it down to 3 sentences? Are you kidding me? And it feels like such a disservice to the book. But that's how we do it. We do it for movies, music, books, everything. So it is doable. And I have, you teach it, I teach it for this blog tour course. I teach people how to do that. And it's actually, I break it into tiny pieces and make it a very manageable thing. And then I encourage people to test it with their loved ones and the random people at the grocery store. Test it with your writer friends or your one friend, Damien.
Right.
You can tweet it to me and I'll look at it.
Yeah.
Because it should be that short.
So am I now the internet's friend?
Yes, you are the internet's best friend, Damien.
Great. That's just not going to open us up to a whole load of weirdos, is it?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, and I'd like to also, people, I'd be happy to look at people's pitches too over Twitter. I love Twitter. And Catherine, you're finally on Twitter, right?
I am. I'm finally getting a grip on it. Finally is a good word. Finally. That's good. So writers, newbie writers out there, tag me or tag Catherine on Twitter, and we'd be happy to look at your pitches. And yes, you have to keep it about 120 characters, actually, is really the guideline I'd give you. Yeah, it's crazy, but you really have to you have to pull it down. But that's what we do now. Whether or not I'm much better at telling other people how to make those little tiny pitches, and then I come to mine, and it's like, but there's so much more. I think that's our problem. There's so much more to tell you. I have to tell you about the main character and what her background was, and then she falls in love, and you all of a sudden you've got the novel again.
Right.
So it's a little, yeah, it's a little challenging. So what we would do for a blog tour then is to, before your book is even out, is to look at who you want to contact as far as bloggers, and maybe make the contact even before you've got the book all set up, just to test the waters. Would you recommend that?
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm confused. Contact bloggers when?
Before you have the book out, before the book's been that hits the streets, so to speak. What was the timing on that?
Yeah, what's the timing on that? Okay, so if we're talking about independently published authors, like I am, I can't really do that for a specific book because I'm not ready. I'm still editing, or I don't even have the cover. Like now, I am publishing a book at the end of this month. I have the blurb, but I don't have a cover. So that's cool,
okay.
Right?
And they need the cover.
Yeah, I'm not ready to actually deliver a marketable piece. But what I can do, and what I have done, is set up blog appearances. So I talk about a theme, and then I'll mention whatever book is current. That's all right. That's informal. That's guest blogging. That's not. I'm not organizing a formal tour. So I don't organize formal tours until the book is actually published, because I'm independent. But if you are a traditionally published author, and you're working with a publicist and you have the cover, well, they already have the cover, the blurb, and advance copies ready to go months in advance of the pub date. So then, yes, you can organize a blog tour ahead of time and get everything ready. Okay. In fact, I worked with an author. He ran a blog tour before her publication date, and people could do pre-orders, which is very important to be able to do if you're going to do it before publication date. And it was quite successful.
Okay.
So what about podcasts? Is it arrogant to contact podcasts and say, I'd like to be on your show and I'd like you to interview me? Only because we get
No,
that
'cause
occasionally.
we get that.
Yeah, I
get
know.
people- I
This is
get
what I'm
people
trying to
doing
work
that to
out.
us. Yeah.
I just find it a bit strange, but podcasts
I
are not
can't
medium.
comment. I can't comment on that because I don't pitch to podcasts. I should, but I just rely on the benevolence of my friends.
Yeah, well, we
At
always
this
like
point.
having you on. It's good.
Oh, good. Well, I love being on, and I love podcasts and radio. And is it arrogant of them to pitch you before their book is published? Is that what
Just
you're
in
asking?
general. Like, occasionally, we do get the odd email going, I would like to be on your show. What's it about? Like,
Yeah, well, yeah, but you don't want
Right.
that.
we talk
I
about
think-
sport.
I think you need to do, because I'll do that. I'll do that for Future Girls if it ever bloody comes out. But I'll contact people I know, give Charles McFall a call and say, hey, I've got a book and I need to promote it all over the place, and he'd go along with that on their show, Success Freaks.
Yeah.
But I would also look for, I would do a search and say, okay, what are the reader podcasts? What is the, what would be the correct theme? And I think to your point, Damien, is yes, if I get an email that says, hey, I want to be on your show and I sell vitamins or something equally inappropriate, it's not going to work. So again, just like Beth said with blogging, podcast is the same thing. I've got something that would be interesting for your listeners, and here it is. And you have to do some homework.
Yeah, I think podcast tour would be cool. I mean, it'd just be a bit hard for me because if I then start sending out to people going, hey, is there any chance I could be on your show, that sort of thing, that's all good. And then you've got to coordinate time, and then I'd be up at 2 a.m. And that wouldn't be very professional either. Going, why did I agree to this?
Yeah, you might want to, for me, I might want to stay to the States just so that I could stay within the time frames.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard enough us organising guests in the first place for our own show.
Yeah.
Well, you seem to be managing quite well. Yeah. And you guys have all kinds of authors on your show.
Well, that's the idea. Yeah. And that's cool. See, that for us, you can say that's a bit selfish because we can look back at 143 episodes and say, well, we've interviewed maybe now 100 or so authors. Contact all of them. Go, if you've got a blog, can I put something up? It's kind of like we're doing the long-term setup, basically.
Yeah. You have a built-in community, and I haven't looked at your site recently, but if you had a blog roll where you listed all of those guests, so, it was a list of all the previous guests, and you linked to them, and you even gave them a little badge that said, I was a guest on Newbie Authors Podcast. So I would put that on my Writers Fun Zone blog and link back to you. So then your blog becomes this resource, and very, search, Google will find you better if everyone's linking back to you. And newbie authors will oh my God, look at all these authors that I can investigate or reach out to. So you kind of built your community. You're helping us, the newbie authors, build a community with us experienced authors.
Yeah, we kind of do that in a sense. I mean, every show is listed there, and we've always put show notes up that always has, like the author's photo, website, name, this sort of stuff. Links to their book. But that little
I think
badge
you're right. That's an interesting point to do a list. Oh my gosh, free advice. Thank you, Beth.
Oh, I know.
Free advice. But I've also gotten into Pinterest and having clickable images that are part of the site and part of articles so that people can throw them up on Pinterest and hopefully create, some buzz that way. So that's why I was thinking a badge would be really awesome if you guys wanted to create one.
It is a good idea. We could say, hey, look, the blog post is up. Here's a little newbie writer's badge. Feel free to put it on your website and link back to it. It's a good idea.
Thank you.
Wonder if, we're going to have to start then the Newbie Writers Awards.
Ooh. Okay.
What is that going to be? The least annoying guest of the year?
Yeah. Congratulations, you didn't piss Damien off.
Right.
That's fun.
The little grumpy cat label on it.
I think that's licensed and trademarked now, but yeah. What a great
Probably.
idea. We should stop brainstorm. Beth, I don't like you on our show because if we keep brainstorming, going off track, it's ridiculous. It's like being in a meeting.
And then Davey and I will have a conversation on who gets to do the work afterward.
Okay, I better stop here then.
Yeah. Are you busy? Oh. Anyway, my God. All right, what else can we add when it comes to rocking the blog tour?
Yes, rocking the blog tour. Ooh, okay. Visuals. Let's talk about visuals.
Yes.
I'm not a designer, but I noticed that I really respond to visuals. So by that I mean a banner that announces your blog tour. You may have seen this, other authors may have seen this going around the internet, where it will be a horizontal banner that will say, you know, blog tour 4, and then the name of the book, the dates, and then sometimes the company that is running the blog tour for you will put their name in there. I don't do that when I do blog tours for people, because I'm like, it doesn't matter who is running it. What matters is the author. So creating that is fun. Also, what other kind of images do you have that are associated with your book? Have you made collages, digital collages, or Pinterest boards that associate with your book? That's become popular, and I've been doing that too. So when I build a book, I have like this latest book of mine is around the theme of Green Man, which is this man with leaves coming out of his head that you see on cathedrals.
I love Green Man. I have 3 Green Men, so I totally know Green Men.
Oh, awesome! So I created a Pinterest board for Green Man of images that I found around and about, and then I've been using them in marketing, and the book's not even out yet. And then when I do the marketing, I will have things to share that go along with the book, not just the cover, not just my face, but Green Man. And then also the book is around the theme of a labyrinth, and so I've been also gathering images of labyrinths. And you can make a Pinterest board, and then later on you can link to this Pinterest board in your marketing.
Just don't link to David Bowie holding a glass ball at the end of a bed.
Okay, there you go. Yes, don't do that.
That is a creepy film. I don't care.
Labyrinth? Yeah.
Especially in spandex. What would that
And I'm
think?
sure authors can come up with some other fun visuals. Yeah, my mind is blank right this moment. I mean, I set a lot of my stories in France, so I use images that I took in my marketing. That's fun. Some people, I also use stock photography. So I go and I find models in the stock photos, and then I use them in my marketing, and then they might show up on my cover, depending on what my designer can do. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with visuals, and depending on your genre, it's going to add a lot to any kind of blog posting you're doing.
What about book trailers? Like including a book trailer? I noticed that's become a little bit of a thing lately.
I can't speak to book trailers. My husband could. Ezra, you'll have to have him on, talk about book trailers. He has strong opinions about that, and because he makes them. And so essentially we think that book trailers don't really sell books. But if you can create buzz, if you can make them funny or compelling or dramatic or uplifting, or, you know, and that tie in with the emotion, with the experience you want readers to have, then they can be fun.
See, I think with the book trailers, I've noticed that obviously you don't want to spend money on these things. Let's be honest. You want to try and get something out there for the least overhead. And so some of them tend to be very quick. You can probably do it in an online thing, and it's just text that flies over. Dun, dun, dun. She was in a dark room. Dun, dun, dun. Who cares? I don't care for that. But then there's other people that go to, I think Janice Davis has got a pretty cool one, where it's almost like a movie. But she's in that sort of group, that community, where they do have access to that sort of thing. And so they put together a decent book trailer. And then I started to think, well, hang on, it's really not that expensive. Because with the quality of tech, you can go and buy like even a GoPro. This is not an ad for them. But you can go buy something like that for like $90 or $100 and put something together as a book trailer. I'm all for it. I just think, on the whole, authors tend to miss the mark a little bit. I do want to chat to Ezra now.
We got another show coming up.
Good. He'd be happy to talk about that. He's finishing a book trailer right now for a client, and really what we think is the most compelling aspect to a trailer is the music. So and he has a background in music. He trained in music, and he is really good at helping find the right music. And if you kind of mess up on the text a little and the images a little, but if you have good music, my opinion is you're going to capture my attention, because everything else probably isn't going to be that interesting. Personally, I find no value in book trailers as a reader. I'm not swayed by them. I'm not interested in them. I don't search them out. But that's just me. And you want to appeal to as many readers as you can. So may as well use all things at your disposal if you can.
Yeah, and with the music, if you can get an original piece. Like, if Ezra, that part of his package is he'll create something for you. That's good. Unlike me, where I grabbed like a royalty-free piece of music, and the other day my boy was watching YouTube, was watching someone build some Lego thing, and they had obviously gone to the same site I go to, and all I could hear was the Tweet Nation intro for 25 minutes on loop. And I've just got, I messaged Dion, I said, seriously, I had to put up with that thing for 70-odd episodes, and now it's booming out of my lounge room. So, yeah, you've got to be a bit careful. I mean, I haven't heard the newbie writers backing music elsewhere, so that's good to know. I think.
That is good. So we're sort of, we stole things originally, right?
We didn't steal anything. They're freely given away at, I think it's incompetech.com. So, yes. And Kevin MacLeod. He's a good
shout
man.
Out for that.
Yes, we should give him.
So, Beth, tell us again where we can find all this great information.
Absolutely. So I on my blog, Writers Fun Zone, the latest blog post called "So You Want to Run a Virtual Book Tour." Again, it's called "So You Want to Run a Virtual Book Tour." Has a lot of resources on virtual book tours or blog tours, including a link to the course that I teach that has over 150 students have taken it, and it's a 3-hour course and teaches you everything, soup to nuts. You could take this information and teach other people if you wanted to. And the first 3 videos are free, so you can watch and see if you like that. And then I have 2 other interviews there where I chat with other people about blog tours and the power of blogging and guest blogging, and that I put up on SoundCloud. And then I have a little criteria here for deciding whether or not to do a virtual book tour. How do you figure out if it's the right thing for you? That's all at
very cool.
Zone. Yeah, I can't advise someone like this in a blog tour. I mean, you could always hire me and I could advise you, but really it's up to you. And so I give you some tools on advice. How do you figure it out? Is this worth it? Worth the time? Worth the money? What kind of results will I get? Because people assume they're going to get book sales, but often you don't get book sales. You get visibility. So it's a form of marketing and publicity. And you show up in a bigger way than you normally would, and you hope that it will increase your readership and then eventually lead to sales.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. You are welcome to hang around while we talk about Word of the Day, or if you need to take off for more exciting things, you're welcome to do that too.
Well, I do really need to take a nap. Because I was up to the wee hours. We went to the Paul McCartney concert at Candlestick Park, the very last concert.
Oh, you did? Oh, very cool.
It was so great, but it took us like 5 hours to get home because, oh my God, crazy public transportation. But I would like to stay, actually, because I am on a high after talking with you guys for the last hour. So.
Oh, that's a good cover. Oh, I need to go and have a nap because you guys bore the shit out of me. Anyway.
That's not what I said.
Right. Well, hey, probably a good time to talk about, we signed up with audible.com, and if you like audiobooks, which I do because I drive a lot, go to audibletrial.com/newbiewriters and sign up for a 30-day trial, and you get a free book. And I want to play a little bit. I was going to play a Robin Williams thing, but I thought that's a bit wrong, seeing as he passed away, which is such a shame. But check out audibletrial.com/newbiewriters. Listen to this. I'll play a bit. Is it going to...
With a tale told before our time. Before hobbits had any part to play in it. A tale told by other voices. Recorded by other hands.
How cool is that? Listen to Ian Holm on the way to work. That'd be amazing. I must
You
get
would just
that.
keep driving around. I have friends who will slow down so that they can finish up a chapter when they're listening.
Really? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's the Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, narrated by Ian Holm and a number of others. That's 4 hours. So I could probably get through one of them in 2 days.
Yeah.
Anyway, check it out, audible.com. The links will be in the show notes. It's all good. But it supports us in a roundabout way, but it's more so that, hey, we're about writing. We're all for authors. And if you can get your book up on Audible, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
I don't know what
That
you
would
need to do to
definitely be
get your book up there, but hey, I will happily promote any author that gets their book up there. Imagine hearing Henrietta the Dragon Slayer in audio.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have a friend of mine, Sharon Hamilton, who has been on our show. She has a whole series right now of romance books that are based on Navy SEALs as the main characters,
Right.
and she has all of her books on Audible.com. And so, if you email me, I can connect you up with Sharon and get you a free download, actually, from one of her books.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
look her up now. See
That's
what's
right.
going
I
on.
know. I'm sharing about Ezra today. He has his book, The Torah Codes, up on Audible. Just
Really?
went up on Audible soon. So yeah, it was a wonderful process, and he also has complimentary passes if anybody's
Yeah.
interested.
So is it his up there
Yeah, you
now?
just contact them. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Well, hang on. Let's do a little bit of a... You can do a sample. Let's play an audio sample, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 3. 25 hours and 7 minutes of sleepless work and wheat-thin crumb production later, I had completed my assignment and emailed the results to the powers that be.
Oh, I'm not going to listen to that. I'll get hooked. All right. I'm going to have to get that.
Yeah.
That's far out, 7 hours. I think of things like if you do an audiobook, I've done a couple of short stories for Lyle at Rainstorm Press. And that, to do like a short story, that still took me like an hour to record. For maybe
it
like
takes a while.
half hour of speaking or 20 minutes of speaking, but 7 hours of that, far out. You'd be absolutely satisfied, isn't it? All right,
All good.
should we do a word of the week?
Yes.
All right, so this comes from A Word a Day by Anu Garg. I can't even pronounce that. Inveigle? Inveigle.
Inveigle.
Does it sound like
Inveigly.
inveigle?
Inveigle. Yeah, inveigly.
Right, that sounds like a food. To get
No,
something...
it's not a food.
It's breakfast time here. To get something or to persuade someone to do something by deception or flattery. Oh, well, that's how I work with this show.
I thought it was appropriate.
Look, isn't that just called management?
Yeah, that too. But read the usage.
The usage. The internet has changed the way new late-night hosts I can't even say it, inveigle their ways into the hearts of fans. Right.
There you go.
Yeah, true. That's also how I get things done at work. You say, oh, look, you did a really good job in the other room. Can you go do that in the next one?
Yeah, that's exactly what you do. Can you do that again? That was so great.
I know, and I'll just go and play golf. So,
That would be the dream, wouldn't it?
it would be. All right. Now, should we do a tortured sentence?
Let's do a tortured sentence because I have one.
Next time, don't put the wrong emphasis on the right syllable. Tortured sentences. Now, tortured sentences brought to you by 629 Publications. They offer editing, formatting, and cover services for probably a reasonable price. I didn't find that bit out. Who cares? They're sponsoring that segment, so check it out, 629publications.com, I think it is. Yes, it'll be in the show notes. It's all good. Now, where did this tortured sentence come from? Hopefully not 629.
No, it did not. It came from my classes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm not going to tell you which one. We'll keep them anonymous. But they, I think the essay was. I can't even tell what the essay was about. So read the sentence or the two sentences, and you'll see why.
All right. So women have decided to fight men's battles since they are not doing it for us wife. I think it's sad that many educated women become materialistic to an extent that it's stomping on all the people surrounding us that we love. Okay. I think someone's got some issues at home, but since they are not doing it for us wife. Yeah, wife.
I think too the syntax. Oftentimes people, student writers, most definitely, get confused about what they're really trying to say, and so they say a number of things all in the same sentence, and that's our challenge here. So I think it's sad that many educated women become materialistic, and then to accept that they're stomping on all the people surrounding us that we love. We've got them, we've got us, we've got who love us. Instead of, it should be who love us, not that love us. So there's all sorts of things wrong with this, which is why it's such a good tortured sentence.
I just want to know where it comes from that women have decided to fight men's battles. I mean, like what? Are women now?
I think she's referring to women working out in the workplace as opposed to staying home.
Right. So it's not that all of a sudden women are now supporting prostate cancer awareness.
No.
Right. And that women are out there saying, yes, men, we're fighting for you. You should have, your testicles and prostate checked regularly. Like.
I find it interesting you went there with the men's battles. That's cute.
Well, I'm trying to think of something that men only really have that women do not. Yeah.
I was thinking of war, that men tend to fight. So now women are going off to do that.
Yes, but women have always
That's a good point.
played some sort of part in war, haven't they?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do, but I think battles, perhaps this writer is thinking battles in a more metaphorical sense than in a literal sense.
Anyway, it was terrible.
Yep.
Let's do a prompt.
I try my best.
You've done well.
Thank you.
All right. So, yes, a prompt. Did you want to read this one?
Okay.
Or do you want me to read it?
I'll read it. So I'll read it because I know where I'm coming from or where I'm going.
Yeah.
So last week's guest, C.K. Lakin, talked about creating movie scenes for each moment of your work. So this week, take that into account and write a scene or describe a scene from very, very far away or very high up. So you're going to take the long view. You're going to see everything in the scene. It's like that long opening shot that she was discussing last week. Now, go in and describe the same scene, but get very close in. Do a close-up. Look at what falls away and what you end up really focusing on, because that's what's important.
Prostate.
I don't really want to get close to that.
No.
Thanks.
Right. And then the doctor said, "You're very tense today." Anyway. And you realise that you're in the train station. Yeah. Cool. I loved that idea about writing it like a movie, because let's be honest, we all do that in our head anyway, really, don't we?
Yes.
So
and we read, if you're lucky, when you read, it's like a movie too, where you're seeing the action in your head.
I think that's the key, and that's where I become quite fickle about things, whereas when I'm reading something, if I don't start to get into that, it's like a movie, and if I start picking things apart, like, they used "and" too much, or that's his favourite word, clearly, that's coming out a lot. If I have to start thinking about that, you've lost me completely.
Yeah, so you're too conscious of the process, and it gets in the way of allowing you to visualize the action and get into it. I think that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Now, just quickly, here's a quote of the week for you, and it's such a stupid quote. It comes from Ralph Garman from the Hollywood Babylon podcast. I love that show. He said that his motto for life was "Make them laugh, make them breakfast."
I love it. I love it. Breakfast is my favorite meal of the day.
So that's how he played his dating game.
That's right up there with candy is dandy, but liquor is quicker.
But his was more from that's how he picked up women. Make them laugh, make them breakfast.
Yep. Make them breakfast. I love it. That's a great quote.
Yeah. There's the quote of the week. All right, Beth, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you
Thank
so
you, Beth.
much. Thank you so much. I've been sitting here making a little badge for you guys that you can decide if you like or not.
Awesome.
That
You
says
are the best. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I'll put it on my blog. It says I was a guest on Newbie Authors Podcast, and I'll link it back to the post when you guys put it up, so people can.
Except you have to
come
change it to Newbie Writers.
Right. It says, yeah. You'll look at it. We'll talk
All right.
about it.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Can I have one for
Thank
me
you for that.
I can?
Appreciate that.
Can I put one on? I can put one on the van or the car that says I've been harassed by Newbie Writers.
There you go. Perfect.
I was
You have
belittled.
one on your car. I'll have one on my car.
You can do custom ones. I was belittled by Newbie Writers podcast. Anyway, no, that's cool. All right. So, Catherine, where can we find you out on the internet? Come on, social media guru.
You can find me on yourbookstartshere.com. Plus, you can follow me on Twitter at @cbramcamp. Also, to go to type in hashtag newbie writers, and I am doing a lot more with that. I'm not perfect, we've got some great tweeters out there, but we're going to give you free links, free information, and information within the tweet, not just check this out and there's the link, because I think we want to put more information out for people just right up front. And those are my two main ones. You can Facebook us on Newbie Writers Group on Facebook.
Cool. And yes, check me out. I'm on Twitter at Newbie Writers. I tweet a bit. Come and join the Newbie Writers community on Google+. It's cool. We post up heaps of stuff that we find out on the web, share things alike. You can promote your book. I don't stop any of that. There's a number of writers communities out there lately that have been pulling stuff down, going, oh, that's against our rules. Whatever. It's the whole point of being on social media. So come along, even if you just post it up. Say, hey, my book's out. Do it. So, yes.
Sounds good.
And you can always email the show, podcast@newbiewriters.com. Got a complaint? Send it through. I'll harass you on air. Yeah, so that'll do it. Who have we got on next week? Do we have anyone on? Oh, we do.
Next week we have
We've got Valerie Koo on.
Valerie Koo.
Yes. She's from the So You Want to Be a Writer podcast.
Yeah.
Which I listen
Yeah,
to.
and they're having a conference, is that right?
Possibly. I haven't had a look into that, but we'll
Yeah.
find the details on
They
it.
have a conference. And hold on.
Hey, Zeus agrees. He's our mascot.
Yeah, my son just came home, so that's why he's
I've
barking.
been barked at by the Newbie Writers podcast.
Also, I will be.
See?
I'll be in LA next week, so we'll have the LA show.
Cool. The Tonight Show. All right. Well.
The Tonight Show, exactly.
Till next week. I'll see you then.
Till next week. I've got to go. You've got to go. Thank you, everyone, for stopping and listening.
Your book starts here on the Newbie Writers Podcast.